faces as well. Welcome to Dojo 7 Smoke tournament. I'm happy to have you. This event is intended to move the scene forward in two ways. We're going to have kind of like an educational piece to it. We're going to allow some experienced shufflers, leaders of the shuffle community to voice their experiences, their anecdotes, their ideas around the scene and how to move it forward. And then afterwards, we're going to continue to move our battle scene forward with the Seven to Smoke, a relatively new format for shuffle dancing with a women's category and a men's category as well. So the schedule for the panel discussion, it'll happen first. I feel it's necessary to have these discussions and these friendly discourses around shuffle dancing, because that's the only way to really, communicate new ideas, move this forward in many different ways, give each and every one of us food for thought for the future and how we want that to look. So we can learn a lot from one another. A lot of these questions, first it'll be 30 minutes of pre-designed questions, and a lot of these questions actually came from a discussion that we had on Instagram. It was Chris is shuffler, and Victoria, Fitness Fan on Instagram, who put together a Instagram discussion after the Della Dreams battles in Orlando. It's in Orlando, right? Jacksonville. And it really inspired a lot of great conversation and discussion around the dance. So many of these questions, that's where the origins of these questions came from. So after 30 minutes of these questions, we will then have an open Q&A for the audience. If you guys have any questions you would like to ask the panel or a specific person in the panel, please feel free to do so in a respectful manner. Without further ado, I'll introduce the panelists from left to right. We have Josh, we have Daniel, Sierra, Lefty, and Julia. All, They have dedicated their time to be here and share these thoughts with us. So I thank them for that. They're all, like I said, they're all leaders in the shuffle community in many different facets, very diverse group. So I'm very excited for this discussion. So we will jump into the questions. So these are really for anyone who would like to answer. So I'll open these up to whoever. So the first one being, how has the shuffle dance scene community changed in the past 5 years? What have been the largest changes that you guys have seen?
Hello everyone. I've been dancing for about 13 years, so I've seen the changes past more than 5 years, and as of recently, I've seen a huge change in like every single aspect of the dance, which is good for everybody, especially in the battle community. Now we have more cities and states taking initiative to host their own tournaments. We now have more professional opportunities for performers. We have more people dedicating their time to making more opportunities, and it's just gonna keep going. So it's so cool. It's so cool to see people taking initiative. You don't have to be an OG. You don't have to be a popular person. You just gotta take the initiative. And it's so crazy to see that most of the growth is coming from places where they're smaller communities, but they're the ones that are taking initiative. So I've seen all those changes, and it's pretty exciting. And now it's our turn to keep it moving forward. So I want to make sure everybody takes motivation home, wherever you're from, and just that's how it starts. Community events, and just create more opportunities.
Awesome, thank you.
I think that was well said. I guess just adding on to that, in the past 5 years, I've seen a lot of boundaries pushed. It's not the easiest, but it's very important to do, and I think being a leader is also important, and putting yourself in positions to push those boundaries and staying inclusive and staying open to everyone. So someone's first moment with shuffling is very important, and they'll remember it for the rest of their life. So I've always thought about shuffling as being for shufflers, built by shufflers. That's what every event basically is. So just, it's been beautiful in that way, I guess. Just a lot of people stepping up and doing beautiful things.
Yeah, so it's funny because like we all have our own experience as a shuffler. We all are in our own reality. Me growing up like with Sideshow, like we come from a very non-biased, non-judgmental space. And when I first started, I felt like there was some type of divide in the beginning. But since, the past 5 years, 6 years, 8 years, what I love to see is like we're all coming together. Like each crew, each collective, we all have a piece of that missing puzzle to put that puzzle together to make something great. And now that I've been around for so long, I feel like we're finally bringing that community and all those puzzles together so that we can push this scene to that next level, which I think we're doing great.
I think the organizational efforts of the community in the past 5 years have exponentially been increasing, and it's a beautiful thing to witness and to be a part of. It's I feel like to keep pushing, like how everyone said, pushing the boundaries, and just happy to be here, witness it.
Awesome, thank you for those responses. For the next question, where do you see the shuffle dance scene currently? And if you were to make any guesses, where do you see it moving forward in the next couple of years?
I think of shuffling that there's a lot of pieces of the pie. I think that we're doing great in a lot of areas, battling, performing, going to the raves and dancing for fun, and also pouring into local communities, whether that's just shuffle meetups, because those are very important. I just think we're in a good spot, pretty fresh in some categories, but I just see it continuing to progress in the future as long as we continue to all do our part.
I also think like with the whole battle sector of the community, it's like as a shuffler, you can only take it to a certain height. And I think that's why that's like new hype and this new energy with the battle sector of the community, because it gives you that extra motivation to get better and to want to do more. So for me, I love to see this. I myself haven't been very like active in the battle sector of the community for my own personal reasons, but I feel like this here, what we're doing today, is a great way to strive to those new heights.
Absolutely.
Yeah, just to piggyback a little bit off what Daniel and Sierra were saying, that's my favorite thing that I'm seeing. Now there's just so many more routes that you can take as a shuffler. Like for example, for battling, the more you win, you're able to stack more things on your resume. Same way that as a dancer or performer, you perform for somebody and then you can put that on your resume. But now, not only can you do that, you can also win tournaments. Now we have cash prizes, so there's more avenues as a dancer to make and create income. And if you get tired of something, then you can explore something else. And then now we have more resources for that. We have more people teaching battle classes. I know Sierra was even focusing some classes on like performances and stage performance. So there's just more resources. And now you don't just have to stick to one thing. I've said that before. Like the future, what it's looking like to me is you're gonna be good at everything, a little bit, and it's so cool to see resources for it now. I think we'll be at in the next 5 years. We'll see everybody being able to do a little bit of everything, and sometimes that's what you gotta do is to stay motivated, switch it up. You get tired of one thing, maybe you need to choreo. Maybe you get tired of choreo, maybe you need to battle. You get tired of battling, maybe you need to deep. Now we have that as well. Like all the resources are there, and we have access to them now.
I agree that battling is a very big part in the advancement of this dance and moving us all forward. And the changes that I've seen in the past couple of years is that more and more new shufflers are starting to be interested in this dance, and a lot of them are jumping straight into battling. And a lot of battles that I've hosted and that I've visited in other states, I see more and more beginner shufflers stepping out of their comfort zone and going straight into that energy and into battling, which makes you practice, which makes you level up faster rather than just, dancing at home in your free time or only at events. So I think the battling aspect is definitely very important in the progression of this community and shuffling, and it's really cool to see it evolve and continue to be evolving.
Absolutely. And I just want to riff off of that. Actually, I think a lot of local community leaders are doing a great job of promoting battle culture within their own local dance scene, and that gives the beginners permission to jump in and get out of their comfort zone when they go to these battles, whether they're traveling for a festival and there's a battle there, or to have a battle in their local scene. So it's amazing to see a lot of the new shufflers stepping up, but also the leaders encouraging one another and empowering the people not below them, but just within, their the chickens in their nest, Okay, I have a next question for you guys. So, what are some of the ideas that you guys have to advance the scene forward from our current state?
Since I have the mic, I'll just start. I think another thing apart from battling that will help us advance is opening yourself up to other dance styles and learning from them, taking dance classes in hip hop, popping, whacking, house, whatever calls you. I feel like those dance styles that are already more advanced and more professional can teach us a lot in terms of musicality, in terms of body control, in terms of all those different textures and layers, and it translates very well to your shuffling flow, and it adds on to it and really helps you progress and level up and open up to new body movements.
I also agree with what Julia was saying. We can, for example, what I did, after a while from shuffling, I got involved in the crump community. Crump is also a really young dance that has been breaking a lot of barriers. And I took a lot of my ideas regarding how I train, how I session, how I collaborate, from seeing how their dance evolved. And I feel like we can all do a little bit of that, and just being able to see how other dance styles do it, because believe it or not, every dance style they struggle with the same issues that we do. They struggle with defining what shuffling is, what that style is, how to judge. They struggle with all those different things that we struggle with. So once we see how other dance styles navigate those struggles, we can get ideas from there. Another thing we could do that we've been doing a better job at is creating some type of committee or a group where we grab everybody from that's hosting tournaments in all the states, all the cities. That way we able to create like some sort of standard for tournaments. That way everybody's on the same page. And I just feel like this is a big step towards creating that that missing link of information, because there's many communities that want to start hosting tournaments, but maybe they don't know certain standards, and it's our job to provide them with that. So that's an idea I've been having, some type of group chat, some type of page that people can access to see certain standards. And if you don't know the answer to something, just ask somebody that's more experienced, somebody that's hosted more tournaments, somebody that has more experience. So just creating more resources and then making them more accessible moving forward.
Perfect. Do you mind repeating the question?
Yes. No, I got you. So with where we're at in our current state of, the shuffle scene, what are some ideas that you might have had as to how to advance the scene forward?
Yeah, a simple idea to advance the scene for me, and in my experience, has been just bringing people together. Again, that could look like a bunch of different ways, but for example, it doesn't have to be classes, but I taught classes for 7 months straight weekly, and now these people, after a couple months or so, they're together every single weekend, and now they're at the rave together, and now they have circle culture. And we also have music that helps us do that in Austin, but that's pretty much it. If you can find ways to bring people together, because again, everyone in this room is super, super important, and people look up to you, and just being that person that's accessible to push things forward.
Yeah, just to expand on that, it goes down to a base level. Just be a good person, be positive. You never know, that newbie shuffler, that could be that next great person, that next great crew. So having a positive attitude, especially at raves or in a circle or whatever, always give that positive energy, because that might encourage them to become something that they could be. You know what I mean? So yeah.
One idea that I have for the advancement of the scene is I feel like with shuffling, it's very like an individualistic expression, and one thing that I would like to see is a lot more choreography, and even when it comes to the battles, maybe doing a 2v2 or a team battle, or something like that. I feel like that would be pretty cool. And to add on to what they're saying, I think the constructive criticism is a very good thing to help people grow, as opposed to destructive criticism and having something bad to say.
Excellent. Thank you for those responses. To riff off of that, there's a lot of great people in our scene doing a lot of amazing things. Who, in your opinion, has been advancing the scene forward? Individuals, and have been taking it to the next step, and what have they been doing from your guys' perspective? Who are you guys looking up to as leaders in our scene moving forward?
I'll be the first one to say I've been a huge fan of Sierra for the longest time. I've told her before, how you shuffle is how I shuffle in my head. You know what I mean? So it's it takes so much more than just being a great shuffler to get to where you want to go. You have to have the whole package. You know what I mean? And she's a great example of that. A great person, great shuffler, great communicator. She has the look. She has everything that you can possibly imagine to advance that. I feel like she's paving the way for all of us. So props to Sierra.
I'm incredibly humbled all the time, seriously. I don't know. I mean, there's so many people, man. There's so many people. Just maybe recently I've been inspired by Edith. I barely got to meet her for the first time. She's one of my OGs personally, but as a woman, as a powerful woman, when I first started shuffling, I saw a few women, but she's just so empowering, and I think that's the word. That's it.
Yeah, I could go all day about a lot of people in this room that have been doing things. I personally want to give a lot of respect and shout out to Gilly, because without him, we wouldn't even have access to this location, and he created his own avenue in shuffling, and he was able to create income through that, and because of that, we were able to reopen this boxing gym. So we wouldn't even be having this without him. But yeah, I just wanted to personally give him his flowers. But then again, just everybody here, sitting here, Ciara, Kento, Julia, Josh, that has. I don't think there's anybody in here that has seen more shufflers dance than Josh. Like his eyes have witnessed more dance styles, not just shuffling. The Crumpers host big sessions there. But yeah, just everybody that's been. I mean, everybody knows what they've been doing, and we just gotta keep it going. And you don't need to be an OG or a leader to take initiative. Like you don't. You don't. Like you just if you have a if you have a mind something in your mind, just create it, and the right people will follow you no matter what if you're persistent with it.
I don't have much to add to that. I think that Lefty's right. Everyone in this room has contributed a lot. FTS, 67, Sierra, myself, we've all been either providing space for dancers, whether it's studio, whether it's classes or battles. And I think it's very important that our collective efforts are what is moving this community forward better and faster than ever before. So yeah, very proud of all of us and all of you guys for continuing to show up.
I wanted to shout out Sky because I feel like the way that he's incorporating other dance styles and Crumb, like it pushes that creativity level within shuffling. Same thing for Gilly and everyone here. Like it's pretty cool to see like all the different ways and combinations that you guys can put things together. So. And yeah, shout out for Gilly, like for opening up the space. That's one thing that I like to see is more spaces opening up for shuffling, and it gives people a place to go to do their thing. So.
Awesome, thank you. All right, I've got one final question for you guys before I'll turn it over to the audience and see if they have any questions for y'all. But I'd like to know, what do you think is the biggest challenge that the shuffle community is facing at the moment?
I think we're doing all right. I think we're doing all right. I mean, it's always something to work on across the board, maybe in life, but maybe, I don't know, professionalism, continuing to work together. But we're learning to do that as we speak, so I think we're doing all right.
Can I just ask you a question off of that? What do you mean by professionalism? Just the way we interact with one another, or the opportunities that we come across and how we go about them, or?
Correct. All of the above. I think how we talk to one another in person, online, again, like we're just all leaders at this point, and we inspire a lot of people. Yes, how we show up online, how we show up in person, how we show up for opportunities, being on time for things like that.
Got it, thank you.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that professionalism. That's why it's so cool to have access to people that are. Everybody is good at something. Like I'm just good at dancing. I'm not professional. I don't know how to network as well as others, but that's what the people we could all learn something from everybody. That's why it's so important just to have everybody in the same space more often. Because if you're not good at something, then tag along with somebody that is. And that's how it goes. But I will mention one thing that I'm gonna keep it battle related. Something that I am seeing and struggling, the community is struggling with, is how we judge battles or the criteria, and that's why I feel like this format is gonna really create an organic feeling, an idea of what a winning round looks like, especially something so intimate like a Seven of Smoke and something continuous. I feel like that's what we're struggling with in tournaments. Like, what's the criteria for judging? We've had about over 10 tournaments now. We've had a variety of judge panels, and they will always be criticizing the judges. Like we've had some of the craziest judge panels, and even then, people still doubt those judge panels. So I feel like that's what we're struggling at. But I just feel like it's a lack of. We just need to get people more exposed to more tournaments. That way, they could create that. Their eye could kind of grasp the differences between what the line between shuffling and what stops being shuffling. I feel like that's where people are having the most trouble distinguishing and criticizing. But I feel like we're gonna remove ourselves from like that criteria because every judge has their own experiences that has molded them, and we can break it down to a point system criteria that only works in certain formats. But for something like this, we're entrusting the judges and their experience to decide the winner. So I feel like everybody watching here is gonna be able to really see, and we won't really have to go deeper into those topics or criteria because dance is subjective. Every single dance style struggles with the judging, so I feel like that's where I see the biggest struggle. But I feel like this tournament is gonna give everybody a really good idea of what to look for when judging.
Not a challenge, but I think what we could do more as leaders as in the community is collaborative efforts to come together and combine our resources, our strengths, because everybody's got strengths and weaknesses, and it's cool to acknowledge that and be able to work together and create bigger scale events, better battles, better community events, and I feel like we can all do a little bit more in that aspect, working together to push the community forward.
Anything else? Okay. I will turn it over to the audience. So if anyone has a question, please just raise your hand and I'll come to you and give you the mic. Anyone? Oh, man.
All right. My question is. Oh, yeah. My question is how do we get other types of music involved in battles? Not just hard techno, trance, house, disco, you know, and we can get those involved. That's how we can explore new avenues in battles. We can learn a lot from house competitions. They fill up arenas, and they have all types of music. But yeah, that's my question.
Right. Specifically for this tournament, we wanted to recreate the environment that is kind of like home to us as shufflers, like a festival vibe, a circle vibe. I feel like that's our bread and butter. So with so so with smoke, with a seven to smoke, we will be. All right, so specifically for this tournament, we want to recreate that vibe of a festival, of a circle, and continuous vibe. So we went with something more driving just for the sake of time. But I do agree with that idea. That's another topic that Gilly and I were actually talking about. Maybe hosting like a disco only tournament. Like these are all ideas that we can take back to our communities, and it doesn't have to be something that big. It could just be at a meetup. All right, tonight we're gonna do disco only, seven to smoke, like come through. Everybody could take initiative, but I do agree with that. House music, hardstyle only, disco, swing, all these other dance styles. But yeah, everybody could just take initiative, and I feel like we should also make some type of suggestion box, like that's public for everybody to want to see more of. Maybe that's something we'll do after this tournament. Kind of like, what would you like to see more of, and then we can all work towards that in the future.
agree with the comments about the house scene. I feel like shuffling would be able to enter the house space, and like it would just make sense. Yeah, I guess that's all I gotta say about that.
Any other questions for the panel?
My question is for Sierra. As a queen in the community who's really just striving for your goals, I don't know how much you can say, but I'm dying to know, like, your biggest goal, your biggest dream. What's the biggest thing that you're trying to do with shuffling in terms of, I know, the performing, and that's one of your most exciting things that I see you do. So I'm dying to know what you're cooking up.
Yeah, that's a great question. I get asked that frequently. To be honest, I don't know if I've looked too far ahead. Everything's been so present, and even this past week and a half, like, I've been very vocal about it on social media, but dancing for like T78 was insane. And for those of you who attended Seismic last weekend, I have to say it was so impactful to the company. We knew it, everyone kind of knew it, but it was moving. I mean, that festival was swarmed with dancers. But anyways, long story short, girl, I mean, I don't know, it's been crazy. For me though, I've just looked at what makes me feel good and really what makes me feel fulfilled. And so far, it's just been the community and the connection at the end of the day. I see myself dancing with who I've connected with for years more. Maybe I'll scale more online. A lot of my body has been in the classroom, and I've put my body in a lot of situations for the past few years. So I'm looking forward to what it would look like to just maybe rest a little bit and see what happens. But I've always thought of shuffling as always being in my life, as I'm sure a lot of people will always have it with you. I don't know what that looks like as far as like business or performing professionally. I do see myself not performing forever. I'm not naive to the fact that there's a shelf life for my body. I also have bad knees, but I love it so much. And who knows, I just think I'll be in a leadership position, and so holding those type of qualities are important to me these days, and I've just learned so much. A lot of humility, a lot of lessons, but I just think holding some type of leadership position would make me really happy. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Darren. Yeah, absolutely. Darren was one of my favorite first too, so love you.
All right, we would like to give our battlers adequate time to get ready and whatnot. So if there is one more question you guys would like to ask the panel, please feel free to do so. Anyone? Okay, I have one more then. All right, you got one, Mace? Okay, cool.
I got here a little late, but what are you guys looking for, like, as far as judges?
Criteria, right? Okay.
I'll be looking at like the overall round, the technique, the pivots and the T-steps, how people put their round together, different combinations, and you know, the kill-off. That's what I'm looking for.
Just looking at a good round. I think round structure is going to be good here. It's going to be interesting because everyone here is extra good. I don't know. So I think at the end of the day, it's the person that's dancing with their heart, with their soul, but of course still providing those foundations, a beautiful pivot. We love a good pivot, control, but just some soul talking.
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I thought we were probably
That mic does not like you.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I actually wanted to go a little deeper into that topic. I didn't think we were gonna get time for it. I feel like that's another big thing that we struggle with, like the difference between a battle round and a session round. We have some great dancers here, and that's gonna give everybody a good idea of what battling looks like. When you're battling, you're communicating with the opponent, but more than anything, it looks really different when you're working to the song and you're in that song and you're making something out of it with your body, versus a session round, because we can all do an 8 count T-step and just add any track over it and it'll look like it makes sense. But I feel like everybody here is gonna get a really good idea of what it looks like when somebody is actively dancing and interacting with the song in the moment and having a conversation with an opponent. It's gonna be very different. And everybody was mentioning things they're looking for, but once you see that round, you will be able to feel like what made more sense, and what had better execution. And at the end of the day, the track is what caused a shot. So what makes more sense to that track, and what was more on point, just everything overall. But that I'll be looking for that to see who's really actively interacting with the track in the moment, and that's what I'm really excited to see, because this is my favorite aspect of the dance.
Okay, awesome. So I just want to thank the panelists for your guys' time and for your thoughtful responses to these questions. And I also want to thank the audience as well for participating in that and just listening. So give yourselves a round of applause, please. Thank you. And I hope that this discussion perhaps inspires other events to hold space for these kind of talks, whether that be the next ShuffleCon, whether that be a local community event. I think these are very important, like I mentioned in the beginning, and hopefully we can continue to do that in the future. So with that concludes the panel discussion. We're going to take an intermission and then jump into the female category, Seven to Smoke battles. So thank you again.
My brother.